Hi, this is Omar from Top 5 E-Bikes, and today we're going to do a full review of the Ride1up 500 series, which is under $1,200. This review will include three main parts, which will be the bike specs, a test ride, and our final thoughts of the e-bike. As a reminder, Top 5 E-Bikes published a video on the unboxing and assembly of the 500 series. We'll have a link in the description, and you can also find it on our YouTube channel. In that video, amongst other things, we covered one slight issue that we ran into, which was the assembly of the crank arm. So be sure to take a look at that video if you're thinking about purchasing a Ride1up 500 series. You'll find affiliate links in the description of this video. So if you find this review helpful, please use the link to purchase a bike on Ride1up. Now let's talk about the specs of the Ride1up 500 series, where we'll be focusing on the battery and the components. Before we get into the details, I did want to call out Ride1up for comparing not only their own bikes side by side, but also their top competitors side by side with their own bikes. You can see the specs of the 500 series versus other bikes like the Aventon Pace 500, where you'll see data points like price, range, motor, battery side by side. And I thought this was pretty cool since I was putting together an Excel table before finding this. Alright, so now let's get into the components. This particular e-bike includes Shimano Acera shifters and derailleurs, which are pretty common for bikes in this price range. In fact, the Aventon Pace 500 has comparable components, but it actually costs about $200 more than the 500 series. Motor-wise, this bike has a 500-watt geared hub motor, and battery-wise, we're looking at a 48-volt, 13-amp-hour battery. What does this all mean, and how does it compare? Once again, this is comparable or better than e-bikes that cost $200 or $300 more than the 500 series. If we look at the Aventon Pace, again a good comparison point, that has a 48-volt, 11.6 amp-hour battery. So all things equal, you're going to get more range from a Ride1up 500. You also get two nice little add-ons with this particular bike, which are the front fork suspension and the light. So if you're planning on riding on paved roads, you're probably safe to actually downgrade a bit to the Ride1up Core-5, but otherwise this could be a pretty nice add-on. Now let's get on to how the specs translate once you're riding the bike. Before putting together this review, I rode the 500 series about 40 miles, so not a crazy amount, but enough to get a good feel for the bike. The 40 miles consisted of a few short trips to the coffee shop and to the store, and a longer ride of about 30 miles. For the most part, I rode on paved roads, but I did want to make sure to ride on a dirt trail to experience the front suspension of the bike. Gear shifting was smooth and not anything unlike my regular bike that I ride. It was what I expected based on the type of shifters and derailleurs, so no surprises here other than saying that for the price point, you have good components here. At some point going uphill, I didn't use pedal assist or throttle just to experience the gears on the bike, and it was fine. Aside from, obviously, the weight of an e-bike, which is heavier than a normal bike. In terms of the battery, I haven't pushed the bike enough to drain the battery, but during my 30-mile ride, the battery showed as half full, so it seems like it's fine at least when the bike is new. Now that we've talked about components and the battery, you're probably wondering about the power of this bike. At times I used only the throttle of the bike, and it for sure hit 20 miles per hour, which is what Ride1up says on their website, so that we can confirm. When we started going uphill, the bike did struggle a little bit, and there were points where we were going 12 to 15 miles per hour. So don't expect this bike to go uphill at 20 miles per hour with only the throttle. One other factor here could be that I'm about 225 pounds, so I'm sure that was slowing us down as well. One final note here is about the suspension. I actually rode on a trail just to get a sense of what it would feel like, and it seemed fine. I normally don't ride a mountain bike, but it seemed like it was sufficient at least for an easy trail like this dirt trail. In addition to the throttle, I obviously use a pedal assist, which is mostly what I use when riding an e-bike, and it was really smooth regardless of going uphill or not. And I was able to get up to 28 to 29 miles per hour, just as the Ride1up website states. So I was pumped about that. So here are our final thoughts. When you consider the price, quality of the components for this price point, quality of the ride, and even if you consider negatives like additional assembly and potentially less customer service, the Ride1up 500 series is an amazing value for $1,195. If this particular bike is a little bit too much for you or it has some components that you did not need, you could always take a slight step back and buy the Core-5, which is $1,095, and save $100. Regardless, both of these e-bikes provide an amazing value without sacrificing quality. If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to our channel, leave us a comment, visit us at top5ebikes.com or some of our social media accounts. Thank you.